This is Josh here. I'm going to talk about every book that's helped me. Now I have a list of 14 here, but I'm going to improvise and add some more onto it. So these books are all self-improvement books. They help you to improve your life. They guide you. They act like a mentor, personal mentor to you with each book that you read, and you're reading the experience of another person, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, because you can either take their experience, learn from it, and implement whatever tips they have into your life and avoid whatever they tell you to avoid, or you could just get into an analysis paralysis of reading ceaselessly, one book after another, and it isn't leading you anywhere. It's just frustrating you because you have all of these desires, and you're operating on lower frequencies, lower vibrations. So, it could be a blessing or a curse if you have a large library of self-help books. And I'm going to mention the 10 books that helped me the most, and then some honourable mentions. As I said, I've got about 4 honourable mentions, but I might add some more into the list. So I'm brainstorming off the top of my head, and I do have some notes in front of me. Okay, so the first one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, this book isn't as valuable as the other ones, I don't think, but it has taught me that skills are a part of your asset column. So you should invest your money in learning skills that will eventually lead to you leaving the rat race 9-to-5 job, starting a business. It's all reliant on skills, and each skill that you learn, it adds value in the external world, not to the internal world, don't make that mistake. But to the external world, you want to move up, you've got to learn more skills. And there's actually another book, which I didn't put on here, called, I forgot what it's called, it's by Scott Adams, How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big. Scott Adams is a political pundit and writer. Wrote the Dilbert stories, a cartoonist, and he's also an economist. And he wrote the How to Fail at Everything, Still Win Big. That this is going to share one spot with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, this isn't in order of which ones I enjoy like least to most or most to least. I've just numbered them randomly, but that can share the spot. It talks about you learn more skills. The more skills that you learn and the more skills you link together, the more valuable you become in society, but not to yourself. Don't make that error. And you can then move up, and get into more places if you want to increase your income. It's basically a game of learning more skills and also managing your time. So the second book is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Now, in the honourable mentions, I do have The Power of Now. They're both by Eckhart Tolle. They both talk about the same thing, and here in front of me I have The Power of Now. The thing is, I actually read the audiobook because reading, I kept losing, my attention was just everywhere, and the ego was getting in the way, so I found that it was easier to get through with an audiobook. And even though I do admit that I didn't really take it all in, it did sort of have an effect, but the effect is hard to explain. Like it made me feel calmer, a lot calmer, and a lot more focused and at peace in my day-to-day life. And sometimes when I have a problem, and I start thinking, spiraling into chaos, brainstorming chaos, I remind myself that have lost a present moment. And when you remind yourself that you've lost a present moment, you return your focus to the actual, to the real, because none of these thoughts in your head and feelings exist in the actual world. So yeah, it's good for grounding you. And A New Earth, yeah, it talks about the same thing. Both books talk about the pain self, which is a manifestation of the ego, that your identity and the concept of I, having an individual self, is a manifestation of the ego. Like even with the wanting to learn new skills, well, that's a desire because you don't need to learn anything. As I said, that's why you shouldn't make the mistake that external value equals internal value, because it doesn't. External value means nothing because it's just a label that we've applied to the world, but you're going to need it because you're going to have to navigate through life. But yeah, don't stress yourself about it. So yeah, it helped because I realized that these thoughts, these feelings, they're not me. They're a self that was created by the ego, and I can perceive. I am the perception. I perceive my own consciousness, so I can, change the inner states, and that brings us to letting go, which I put as number 4 on the list, but I'm going to bring it up to 3. Letting Go by David R. Hawkins. I'm currently reading his book on addiction because I suffer from sex addiction. So, yeah, Letting Go is a book about basically it's a similar thing to A New Earth, where it explores consciousness, and it explores different states of consciousness, different states of there's doingness and there's beingness, and it goes all the way from death, which is at 0, to life, which is like life is above, I think, 200, and that goes all the way to 1,000, which is enlightenment, and there's a different spectrum of emotions. So you have death, shame. You have death, shame, grief, apathy, grief, fear. You have guilt, anger. You have courage. Now you have desire, courage, neutrality. You see, man. Yeah, you have. After that, you have neutrality, acceptance, love, and at the very top is enlightenment. It's something like that. And you climb the emotional ladder, the ladder of mental states, by letting go of the lower emotions, the emotions below courage and willingness. Courage and willingness they're around about the same frequency, and you build the willingness by letting go systematically, like unraveling the layers of the feelings and fears that hold you back. The fear is feeling. You unravel the layers until you're at peace with yourself, and then you find that you're naturally following your purpose. And yeah, it's been useful so far. As I said in a previous video, it's helped with my writing. Ideas just flow out naturally now. And yeah, because I'm operating at the level of courage, I think, willingness, and the higher the emotional states you climb to, the more you're going to surrender illnesses. And yeah, because you feel as though you deserve colds, you feel as though you deserve these things out of guilt. So you find yourself getting ill less, so you have more motivation, and you're following your purpose. It just pours out of you. You don't need to stress yourself about anything, and you also realise what is glamour. Glamour. Now, I haven't read Glamour. This isn't even on the honourable mentions. It's just a book that I ordered because it was mentioned in Letting Go. So, Glamour, A World Problem by Alice A. Bailey, where she mentions about glamour on the plane that we can perceive that we can touch. It doesn't exist, but we can touch it. And yeah, glamour is a problem because people, they think that they want this. They think that money, more money, bigger house, better car will make them happy. But the thing is, it won't. It won't make them happy. That's just a myth propagated by the media and society and taught in schools. that you get this, you get that, and you go to university, you get good grades, and it'll make you happy. And the thing is, I never had good grades. I had average grades, and I come from a poor background. I've had trouble in school and making friends. I've always been kind of an introvert, so I still feel relatively happy. And that's something that you build within yourself. You can't find happiness outside of yourself. Someone on the Fastlane Forum for Entrepreneurs told me that you can't find happiness. If you look for happiness outside of yourself, then you've already lost. Okay, so Letting Go was actually the most valuable book that I've read out of this whole list. Like, if I was ordering it, it would be at number one of, So the fourth book on the list, well, it was the third book, but it's the fourth book now, is The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cabane. And I have this here. Master the Art of Personal Magnetism. And I really like some of the ideas in this book. I like some of the exercises. You abdicate responsibility to the universe for social interactions. Like you breathe out, and it's supposed to calm you, because you think, well, it's up to the universe. You relinquish the burden. That's one of the strategies. There are a few different ones, and its aim is to teach you that charisma is a skill that can be learned, and it's more related to mindfulness. You don't have to just be born with charisma. It's related to mindfulness and staying in the present moment, and you can visualize. And I use it a lot of the time because I suffer from social anxiety. So when I go outside, and if someone seems to be talking about me, which they usually aren't, if I think, well, they're gossiping about me, no, I'm like, they're gossiping, because if they have a sour face, they're gossiping about a foul breeze, one of them let off. And that kind of grounds me. It grounds me so I can just walk past and mind my own business. And yeah, it has helped. And I've used it a couple of times when I went to volunteer at a charity shop, and I was quite charismatic, and they thought that I did well, because I could tell by the face and the manager's face. So yeah, it's helped me. It's a pretty good book. So we have The Millionaire Fastlane. The Millionaire Fastlane and Unscripted, both by MJ DeMarco. Very controversial. They hold very controversial views about the state of society. Views that school teachers won't agree with. So, the Millionaire Fast Lane, crack the code to wealth and live rich for a lifetime, could be described as a get-rich-quick scheme, a get-rich-quick scam. However, it doesn't sugarcoat it. You have to work hard, and you also have to, you have to have a plan, you have to have a product to sell that other people want, and it gives you a few systems, tried and proven techniques and methods. It even provides value by giving you a link to the Fastlane forum, I think has it in this book, or does it have it in scripted? But yeah, it gives you tried and true methods. You can, it's jam-packed with notes, I wrote notes all over it. It tells you what to avoid, the true scams. I mean, yeah, there are get-rich-quick schemes, there are scams, but it says that this is a get-rich-quick scheme. It's obvious, it doesn't try and cover it up. It is a get-rich-quick scheme, but the get-rich-quick schemes that fail are get-rich-easy, and this requires hard work. It basically advertises the sense model, which is control, entry, need, time, and scale. It's been invaluable to me because of the motivation that it gives. I know I've got to improve my skills before going into business full-time, but hang on. I now have a vision to strive towards, and it's to provide value. It even tells you in this book and in Unscripted to not do it for the money. Like, even though the goal is to become financially free, and he defines financial freedom as a few million in the bank, which won't make you happy, by the way. It says that it will make you happy, but trust me, it won't. But yeah, so it gives you, it tells you not to chase paper, because it's just an exchange of value. It just shows the value that you're giving out to other people in the external world, and the money doesn't mean anything besides that. And of course, you could reward yourself, like if your goal is to earn 11 million and you're reaching your goals, you can buy a Lamborghini or whatever. But I'm not that type of person. So yeah, that's more related to lifestyle design and the 4-hour work week. But I haven't read that book yet. I really liked in this book the frameworks it gave, the other framework for making decisions, which is WADM, Weighted Average Decision Matrix, and it basically, you write down all of the factors when making a decision, like moving out, staying. You draw a line down a piece of paper, and you draw like 3 lines, and one section you draw, you write out all of the different things you'd like to consider. Second one, the second, third one's just weighing the options, because you add values to it, like 10 for effort, because you're really focused on how much effort, that's a minimal effort, and 5 for security, I don't know. And then you multiply, and it's easier to demonstrate it. You multiply each of the different factors in the first column. You write down a number, from between 1 to 10 in both the decision columns, and then you multiply it by the number, the value that you've given to the decision, to each factor in the decision you want to make. I know that sounded needlessly complicated, but honestly it's not. Just buy the book. Just buy the book if you want to understand it. Yeah, so YouTube, unfortunately it's a saturated market, but people do need self-improvement advice. These videos, they have some value, you know, and you can increase the value on the video quality as you go along. So YouTubing, it's kind of fast lane, but it kind of isn't. It just depends. Some people have said that who've read the fast lane books, this honourable mention, by the way, have said that no, it's celebrity because you're working for breakout status, you need talent or whatever. No, that's just poor mindset. That's just a lack of imagination. So if you put the work in, you should get the results because you'll deserve it. You know, you've got to earn your rewards in this world if you really want to. Because, you know, you can, going back to the Letting Go book, you can actually be happy and pay for your finances, you know, everything, without having to start a business. You can afford to, I know if it's your dream to go bungee jumping, you can do that without starting a business. It's not mandatory. No one's going to put a gun to your head and say, oh, sell something within a week. No one's going to do that. It's so yeah, and also, if you do decide to start a business, it's you know, I've been at this for a year and haven't made anything yet. So you've got to be in it for the long run. Even though this book, The Millionaire Fastlane, says, oh, you can get rich in about 3 to 10 years. You know, you can become a millionaire. Even if you don't, you're in it for the long run. Okay, you're not in it for any duration of time. That this is what you do. You're in it for the long run. It's a process. You're constantly improving. As long as you're making the micro improvement, micro change, you're still in the race. And it isn't a race, you know, but you're still in the battle. You're still in the game. So yeah, next on the list we have Walt Disney, biography by Neil Gabler. I mentioned this on Facebook to one of my friends. Walt Disney by Neil Gabler is a book about Walt Disney, self-explanatory by the title. Walt Disney is a very intelligent, intuitive, you know, inquisitive man with a sexy mustache, and yeah, the book it inspired me to start with the desire to become an entrepreneur, even though I let go of the desire now, so all of this is just flowing out of me naturally. Walt Disney, I was inspired by his work ethic, because I read it whilst I was in the sixth form. I was about 17. How he'd work hours upon hours without, you know, any exhaustion. He'd stay up all night on projects. He'd have multiple projects on the go, and I thought, yeah, well, I want to live that kind of life. I wouldn't mind living that kind of life because it's living to your highest potential in creativity, and it did inspire me to want to live the creative lifestyle of an entrepreneur, and to make creative work that people gain value from. So yeah, I did really like that book. It is up there. It's probably second if I was ranking the books from the ones that helped me the most to the ones that helped me, the ones that helped me the least to the ones that helped me the most. It would be second on the countdown. It's very, very interesting book. He's an interesting man, you know. And he did have some anger issues. He did act aggressively and lash out at his staff. But aside from that, you take the good and you leave the bad. And, you know, it's a very interesting book that might give you some inside knowledge on the process that he found. He found a problem, the entrepreneurial process, because he found a problem that hadn't been solved before, you know, in new emerging fields and animation, adding sound and colour is the first one for all of those things. And then once you build up the skills and through reputation, through working for others and animating for them and drawing for newspapers, he basically combined the skills together. This is what I was talking about, and started the Disney company, which is now worth billions upon billions, and owns illegal slave farms in China. So yeah. And number 7 on the list, Psycho-Cybernetics. I'm gonna get some water. Right, I got some water. So where was I? Number 7, Psycho-Cybernetics. Just find my page. Right, so my eyes are watering. Some more water. Yeah, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. How many times have I said Psycho-Cybernetics now? So, Psycho-Cybernetics is about overcoming limiting beliefs. Now, I prefer the letting go method personally, which is the same thing. It's just you let go of each emotion as it arises. This one, instead, you question it and you ask yourself whether that emotion is true, whether that thought, belief is true, and it actually tells you to get angry at it. And now, anger is a lower state of vibration, so that's the problem. Because if you get angry at it, you might just overwhelm yourself. It's better to let go of the emotions altogether. But if you are up to the state of anger, it's much better than operating at a lower state, at a lower frequency, like guilt. Yeah, so it's at a higher state than guilt, which makes it a bit better. It also gives you some tips, but they're based on desire for motivating yourself to reach your goals, and it's about striving. If you were to, it also has some mind tranquilizers which are pretty useful. Like you lie on your bed and imagine that your body is made of balloons and they're bursting slowly, and all of the pressure inside of you is being released. That is letting go, because you could let go of a lot of fear, anger, and guilt through that. But yeah, you can boost yourself up to courage and acceptance, and maybe even love, compassion. So yeah, it has some mind tranquilizers in there. Visualizations is a key part, large part to it. It's the Psycho-Cybernetics itself is sitting, meditating and imagining yourself working out, the process of working out, or imagining yourself working out, or imagining the feelings, the sensations of pulling down a tricep bar, or working, studying, in the writing itself and the drawing of graphs. And you imagine that, and yeah, you find yourself taking action and acting on your intuition, and even opening up your intuition. It did help with when I wanted to start a skincare business, which I ultimately didn't, but I was going out of my way to buy all of the necessary equipment and visualizing what the product would look like. And I started mixing for soaps and buying the, caustic soda, mixing it with different oils, and so it does help with taking action, and you visualize it. You visualize the steps. You can also visualize with some music in a journal, and you can just imagine in your mind and then just write it down. Just write down what it is you'd like to achieve. But it's better to let go of that desire and just let it pour out naturally. So yeah, I am getting back into visualizations, by the way, because I've been out of the gym for a few weeks now. I'm not proud of it. So I've been visualizing getting back to the gym and lifting weights, pull downs, tricep pull downs. And yeah, I'm pretty confident that will happen. It's habits. When you make a habit tracker and you track it, it's going to be inconsistent to begin with for the first couple of stages of self-improvement. So for about a year, maybe, you might be in a self-improvement depression. So the psycho-cybernetics, by the way, it was invaluable for changing my beliefs. But I found that before applying the letting go technique, the beliefs were recurring doors, revolving doors that close my beliefs off, let go of them. Well, I wouldn't let go of them. I'd just shove them back down into my body and feel the physical symptoms and ailments. And it wasn't until they were released that the beliefs started to become more consistent, and I noticed that my days were becoming more and more productive. So number 8 on the list is tiny habits. Tiny habits, like with the visualizations, you visualize the tiniest steps. Like this is something that I haven't been doing. I've just been visualizing going to the gym. But the first step, you visualize going outside. You visualize putting your shoes on, going outside, opening the gate, and walking to the local leisure centre. You visualize the steps. Now, that is psycho-cybernetics, and tiny habits actually is linked to that, because it gives you a process in here, and I haven't read the whole book yet. I'm currently on How to Break Bad Habits. So with adding in good habits, like adding in a meditation routine, you might benefit from buying a meditation cushion or downloading an app, or you might benefit, it's just these small actions, like Atomic Habits, which it's a best-selling book, but I actually gain more value from this. Where you take the smallest step, you can write a spider diagram. You can write down like the aspiration outcome. So aspiration outcome, get into shape, and then you write down the smallest thing you can do, which could be just I don't know. It could even be the 2-minute visualizations. So then you add in, because it needs an anchor, so you add in, what can I add the visualization to? What can I anchor it to? Well, you can do the visualization after drinking your morning coffee, or after you've made the coffee, after you've poured it and walked into the living room. You visualize, and the coffee will still be warm, and then you can even reward yourself by having the coffee itself. So then you've got a new habit. You try it for, well, you could try it for a couple of weeks and then add in some more habits. I like to bulk habits, so I'm just adding in several, and it's probably not the best thing to do. Oh, that went up my nose. Right, so $100 million leads actually started me off on the path of spamming, sending messages to everyone on Facebook. asking them to watch my YouTube videos, getting in touch with people from the past, asking, hey, how are you? Just so I can get them to watch my YouTube videos. It's actually $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozi is the sequel to $100 Million Offers. I got further into this book than I did with the offers. And it gives you a model to follow, a framework, like a lot of the other books, all of the other books, which I've mentioned. And this framework is that you send 100, because this is where I've gone up to. I haven't finished the book yet, but so far you after you have the offer, which is the product, what you provide, the problem you want to solve for others, you message 100 people a day. And of course I haven't been consistent with this. There have been days where I've skipped it, but you message 100 people a day. You have a few conversations with them so you're not creepy, and then you market your product. Oh, hey, by the way, I have a YouTube channel and I talk about this problem. Like if you're talking about fitness, I never have the motivation to get into the gym. And then you could say, if you watch my video on visualizations, I should watch that. Oh yeah. And then you say, it's a pretty good video. And then you go on to self-improvement. And for the 100 people, because one of your excuses might be, but I have no one to send the videos to, you write down a list, and then each person on the list you message, hey, I saw that you're doing this and that, how are you? And then you start a conversation. And this has worked several times. There have been times where people, maybe they don't recognize me, or maybe I said something that's a bit awkward, but most of the time, awkward relative to them. But most of the time it works, because this is with a warm audience, people and I'm not really selling, because the things that I'm giving away is for free. You start with free stuff, like if you're a website designer, you start by offering, your business, it's doing well, yes, a business, and I can make your business a website, hit me up on Instagram, I will. And then you've got a sales funnel, start making free stuff. You might need to raise the funds through working a job at McDonald's or something, so you can afford the free stuff to give them